How hard is a 2600 rated puzzle on Lichess? Let's find out. I'm going to click on puzzles, and as you can see my rating is a bit higher than 2600, so this puzzle should be rated around that level. Let's get started. Black to move, okay, a lot of pieces on the board. Material, 2 rooks, 3 pieces each, pawns, 7 for white, 6 for us, but we can recapture, maybe. But the first thing I notice is this alignment. So one thing that jumps out at me, whenever the queen and king are aligned like this, you should take note. That's why often white plays king b1 when they castle long, just to get, okay, to protect a2, to get the king off this diagonal. But anyway, so we start with checks as usual. Any checks? No checks. Moving on to captures, we have this bishop takes bishop, we have a capture here, and these captures, recaptures of the pawn, and threats, the third candidate move to consider, which are threatening checkmate or attacking pieces. Can we threaten checkmate? Not easily. I'm also noticing that the queen has to defend the bishop, right? Otherwise, so the queen's the only defender of the bishop, so we could try and attack the queen. Noticing this, so in those 3 candidate moves, checks, captures, threats, this is a threat, right? We're threatening the queen. And also a sort of tactic, trying to remove the defender of the bishop. So if we go rook c5, they could throw in this check, but we recapture and we're back in the same predicament for white, where they have to move their queen or block the attack on the queen, but that's not really possible. So rook c5, takes on f7, maybe. Let's just say queen, okay, queen only has f4 because these squares are covered by our knight. So queen f4 to maintain defense of the bishop. And then to attack the queen again, we have a lot of options actually, because if we move this knight, we're attacking it with the knight and the rook, which is on f7. So knight h5 attacks the queen again. Am I missing anything? Because that seems quite promising. So rook c5, they can't block the attack. They can't really counterattack except for this check. Just double checking. Yep, so queen f4 almost forced. And queen h4, but then we'd have rook h5, double attack, which should be winning. They can always take on g7, threatening the rook, but that's not enough material, nowhere near enough. So rook c5, they do have e7, but we just take with the queen. And then they could attack our queen again, but we can take the queen, give up our queen, and then take on h6, so that's okay, at the least. So rook c5, takes, and then queen f4, right? Am I missing anything? I think the hard part of this puzzle, if this is the solution, is just finding this motif of removing the defender of h6. So queen f4 and then knight somewhere. Does it matter where? Because we can move this knight anywhere and attack the queen with our rook on f8, on f7. So does it matter? It's always good to be detailed in your analysis just to make sure, because it could be that you play, one common mistake is calculating something and then playing it quickly, all the moves in sequentially without pausing, and then you may get to a position where you should have actually considered your moves, because knight h5 might be a mistake for some reason. So you shouldn't play it immediately. But it does look good. Yeah, the only other reasonable discovery would be knight here, double attacking the queen as well. When the queen's on f4, we'd be attacking it with the knight and the rook. But here it is under fire from this knight. And it blocks our bishop's attack this way. So maybe then there would be... what would there be? Yeah, queen back here maybe? No, but then yeah. Okay, but definitely starts with rook c5, queen moves, they didn't throw in this. Makes sense, because now when we move the knight, it's only a single attack on the queen, not with the rook as well. But it should still be the same, right? Don't see much difference. Knight h5 attacks the queen and maintains this on the bishop, this attack. Queen can't stay on this diagonal, which means after knight h5 they have to find a counter attack or something. Or this check, throw in the check, but that just transposes. Yeah, we have to take with the rook when they check. We can't move here because then they could take the bishop with check and then there's no longer any threat. The main threat of ours is to win this bishop once the queen is forced away. So knight h5 looks winning. Just checking for counterattacks on our queen. This is sort of a counterattack, right? But then we just take with the rook. Yeah. Can't take with the pawn because we lose our queen. Might still be winning because we'd get white's queen anyway, but knight h5. Okay, and they have to give up their queen. I probably overcomplicated that a bit, but I like to be sure. There's no time limit, right? If you're playing blitz, you'd have to do that much quicker, obviously, and trust yourself. But here, it's good practice to check everything so that when you're in a game, a longer classical game, you're in the habit, or you have the habit of checking everything, assuming you have enough time on your clock, using the time wisely to not make any silly mistakes or oversights. Like if you play this too quickly, you might just miss a resource like this. This is always nice to see, like that it's an option, but we could take it. We could also give up our queen since we're already attacking their queen. So hope that was interesting and insightful, and maybe you got some tips for your own calculation and how to solve these more difficult puzzles. Hopefully I'll get upwards of 27, close to 2800 in future, and I'll be able to show some even more challenging ones. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe for the channel to see more chess content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.